this isn't going to be a very happy video. Um, yeah, I just want to share some thoughts with you guys and just really kind of touch base. I haven't really made any videos for the last week because I've um I've just been getting other things done with my life really. Really just looking for those proper job opportunities, those big boy jobs, applying for a lot of positions to banks. If you're unaware, I'm a finance and accounting major. Not the best finance and accounting major in the world. I've taken a while to really finish my degree. I had a lot of toxic shit going on in my life for the early parts of the degree, for my degree, and leaving university. And honestly, probably all my own doing and my own mistakes. And like, I really don't have any excuse. I had every opportunity available to me. I'm not an idiot. I don't think I had decent grades leaving high school. And you have all these pathways to really do what you want. Like you can be whatever you want. It just comes to your work ethic and working hard. And I just didn't have the work ethic. I was just an idiot. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Um, yeah, and I was just very complacent. And the last couple of months, last couple of weeks, I've just things have just been getting different. Things have been changing. I've been trying out a lot of different things. Um, as far as this YouTube channel goes, I am under no illusions of what the scale of this YouTube channel is, because I've got this tiny niche, which is Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I have a tiny niche within a tiny niche, which is this Yu-Gi-Oh finance stuff. And really, with the content I'm trying to create, and when I see people that have similar Yu-Gi-Oh finance channels doing, I I just think, and I just really think that it's just not worth it. The reality is that if you want to make a big YouTube channel, you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator, and that's just not what this channel is about, really. You know, I'm being very, very hyper focused. I'm trying to basically just decipher what will be meta relevant and buying cards in order to capitalize on the facts that there are expectations for certain decks, and people will want to buy the least accessible cards at higher prices than the most accessible cards, and it's really just not worth it anymore to me. Like, the reality is, Yu-Gi-Oh is not a stock market. Yu-Gi-Oh is not. There's no exchange. You're basically moving something that's very, very hard to move, and it's kind of shit, and it has been kind of shit for the last year and a bit or so. But basically, I want to talk about how Konami kind of just killed a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh investing, because usually, back in the day, it was very, very different to what it is now. Nowadays, when you see all this Yu-Gi-Oh market stuff, it's just buyouts, and a lot of time it's dumb buyouts of stupid shit. Like yesterday, people just bought out Time Maiden blatantly after seeing the Time Lord stuff. I could have, and I chose not to, and the reasons why are basically because we don't know if the stuff is going to be good. It's a couple of months away now, and I don't know if you guys were paying attention last year, but people opened a metric fuck ton of Battles of Legend Light's Revenge. The singles are everywhere, right? It's maintaining a $3 whatever price tag right now. It's going to go back down to 2. It's just not worth it. And that's the problem with Konami's product and really investing in the singles right now, is that everything's too accessible. It was extremely good before Breakers of Shadow came out. This is why this is here. It was amazing. But the reality is, when they made the pull rates of everything in these boxes amazingly good, it really did kill the real viability of trying to speculate on card prices in Yu-Gi-Oh! And we can still do it, and I am still doing it, but the return just isn't here anymore. I can't buy super rares for $3 and sell them for $30 and $40. And honestly, it's probably the way it should be. I'm not going to lie. Like, what I'm doing is, it's basically greedy. It really doesn't. I mean, I like to make this channel under the pretense of I am teaching people how to kind of spot these things. I'm teaching people how to react to things. I'm teaching people about how to get something early before they have to spend a stupid amount of money just to be able to play a children's card game. And I'm glad Konami did do it, because before I was really into this Yu-Gi-Oh investing shit. I really liked making budget decks, and there was one point in time where you could make a $60, $70 deck and you could win regionals and you could win events. It's just not the same anymore because of how the product is designed. You just can't. Like it, Yu-Gi-Oh has just become extremely power creeped. Yu-Gi-Oh has become like there is much less emphasis on technical play and actually being good in the game. I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh's gameplay at the moment. I think it's been managed terribly by Konami. I really think that decks carry players a lot more than good players carry themselves in this day and age. And if that wasn't the truth, we would be seeing a lot more consistent topping from a lot of big name players. And there's a whole lot of issues with the side with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. There's a whole lot of issues. There's a whole lot of issues with Yu-Gi-Oh in general. The product, just the value of the cards in the product just tanks. Reprints, I mean, they're very good for people that want to play the game, but when you have all these problems with the competitive side of the game, when you have all these problems with like new mechanics, like link monsters, I mean, how did they not include a once per turn clause on Fireball Dragon? How did they not decide, yeah, maybe we should, hit go through and, grind a golem and scapegoat and all this other fun shit. And, look, why the fuck is the, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon play still a thing? This game is not handled well. This game is managed terribly. With all the problems Yu-Gi-Oh has, it survives solely based on its brand recognition and Yugi and Kaiba and Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. And they've done a really good job at making the game so that, at least at a very casual level, and like I say that with a grain of salt, it's basically when you're just not at table like 1 through 12 at like a regional or a YCS or a nationals, they have made decks very, very easy for people to play. I mean, if you look at things like Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician, those decks are extremely easy to play and they give people what they want. But everything's just really easy to get now. And because of the changes in the product and their philosophy when they make the product, it makes it just not worth it to really hold on to cards as it used to. Like, to give you an example, like sets like, what is it? Duelist Alliance, that's the wrong one. They were both green packs. Or Clash of Rebellion, These sets were moneymakers for investors and speculators, right? Because you had only one secret rare of like a decent secret rare per case, You had like, 3 to 5 copies of the good ultra rares per case. Then you had like, 5 to 6, maybe 7 copies of the good super rares per case. The scarcity of all... No, I'm not saying rarity, because rarity is very, very different to scarcity or whatever you want to call it. The cards being scarce allowed for so many different things. I remember buying, like, Luster Pendulum, I think it was late 2015, for $3 each. This is a new release super rare. And then you could sell them for $40. $1 ultimate rare Ignistas. Buy them for $1, sell them for $20. It's just crazy. But then they basically halved the price of everything, made everything really easy to get. They made the value of the super rares absolutely worthless. We haven't had a super rare be more than $5 since Twin Twister, basically. And even in the tournament price support, everything's just too easy to get. There's just too much of the super rares out there, so it's not really worth touching them for a good 6 months after they come out. And that's just led me to this long rant, basically, that Konami really killed investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! A while ago. And now, like, you can still make money, but, like, most of the people that are making consistent money, they buy collections to flip. All the money, like, of all the smart people anyway, is going into old shit like LEB First, Blue Eyes White Dragons, and people try and hype, like, releases of, like, cards that came out in the last 5 or 6 years. And, like, there are all these OTS Ultimate Rare cards, and, like, yeah, I mean, you can invest in them. Not OTS Ultimate Rare, but, like, Astral Pack ones, or whatever the Vrains one were, or even some of the Turbo Pack ones. Like, I mean, and you can... But the amount of effort required, the amount of knowledge required, the amount of foresight required, it's just not worth it. I can, like, to actually have, like, a good grasp of the game, I have to test everything myself on Dueling Book. I have to look at decks, I have to look at OCG reports. I can't hold any cards, basically. I have to sell everything within small time frames to make the most of my money. And it's just not worth it. Like, and then you see people that open card stores in, like, 2018, like, that to try and make it worth opening all this product, right? in order to get the cards in the first place. And I mean, card stores are going out of business as well, you know? Like, it's a really bad idea to open a card shop. It would be like, I mean, I think there's a very big difference between opening a card shop and being an established store. I only really know of 2 card stores that really kill it. One card store that delves into all the trading card games like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc., etc. And I'm sorry, this background's really boring. Like, I mean, dude, let's look up some card values. You know, this is going to be a long video of just me running my mouth. Let's look up some card. Let's look at Yu-Gi-Oh. Let's see what we have for Star Pack Reigns. I'm just going to keep like browsing through random stuff while just to give you some visual stimulation in this video. You could basically just treat this as a podcast, really. That's all my videos though recently. or at all. Yeah. Like, all these card shops that want to open up or whatever, or if you have ever had a thought of opening a card shop, and I said this to I was at a YCS, I think, or a Nationals or whatever, and there's this kid in the community, and he was he's you know, about 15, 16, like high school age, and he was well, why would I go back? He was asking questions about opening card stores. It's not like, I don't think he wanted to. I think it's just the topic conversation came up, and I was just like, what you have to understand is that all these stores, they buy this product. You know, it like, I honestly, I look at card stores of like, you know, with Magic the Gathering, and I feel like Wizards just has like the best pyramid scheme in the history of the world. Wizards of the Coast, just with their like pyramid scheme. They have to buy this product at like a really shitty price. The margins on sealed product is like, yeah, that's why I'm going back. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to talk. I just want to talk. I don't really want to show my face because I'm saving my face for another YouTube channel, and I don't want to have my face associated with this channel. Like, you know, you have to buy this product at terrible prices, and if it doesn't sell, you're stuck with it. Like, I know a store that just bought like 2 like cases of was it the Star Pack Reigns without really knowing what it was. They just assumed it was a normal set. You know, and so many bad boxes just keep coming out and coming out and coming out, and people get stuck with it for years. It's a bit different with Pokemon, but with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, like, people get fucked. People get fucked hard. And like, yeah, you can always recoup your value. You can always, like, you always have it on hand. This used to be a $10 card. Yeah, you can always kind of recoup value. But it's just not worth it, really. Like, why? Why do this in 2018 when there's so many more options? And that's basically my crossroads at this point. Like, I mean, this YouTube channel, I guess, I don't think anyone would call it successful by any stretch of the imagination, but in the environment that I'm in, like, you're basically a good YouTuber if you can hit that 10k mark, basically, in my opinion. I feel that's like kind of the threshold. But your growth will always be slow. Combining words there. That's how new words are made, basically, that we just combine new words from old ones. So sloth will be in the Oxford Dictionary in about 10 years time, right? Basically, no, this is like $70. Like, I mean, but look at all these ultimate rares. Like, this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, a good symptom or a good indicator that people don't really want to buy into new shit is that the money starts flowing into a lot of older cards that are very, very rare and very, very hard to find. And I've got no doubt that if Yu-Gi-Oh's popularity continues to go as it is going, because, like, I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh as a franchise or as a game is gonna die. I definitely don't think it is. I just think that it's just not worth doing when I do anymore. And I don't know, it's just, it's not to really do with my growth. I feel like I'd be at the same place if I was at 2,000 or 7,000 or 10,000 or 30,000 subscribers. It's just, I don't think that the demographic is here for Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that this type of topic works really, really well in Magic the Gathering. And I think if you're familiar with a YouTuber called Alpha Investments, you could never be an Alpha Investments of Yu-Gi-Oh! It could only be for Magic the Gathering. Because that's what the demographic is like in Magic the Gathering. The Magic the Gathering has an older demographic that, you know, is very angry all the time, basically, that complain a lot, that do see the flaws in products. And I feel that I have this mindset that would have been perfect for Magic the Gathering, but my poison of choice, my cardboard crack of choice was Yu-Gi-Oh! And I dabble in a little bit of Pokemon, but even then, like, Pokemon doesn't have the same dynamic as Magic the Gathering. You know, there can't be an alpha investments of Pokemon. That's what I'm trying to say. There can't be an alpha investments of Pokemon. You know, that's why in Pokemon, it's basically like all these children's entertainers opening booster packs for days and days on end, because the demographic is basically children. The demographic is much younger. It's basically children, and that's just how it kind of works. Yeah, sorry if this video is just kind of everything, but like I just don't have it in me to make a market watch video right now. I've got a lot of things going on. I've basically made my bed, have to sit in it. But I didn't get uni work started in time. Read between the lines. And I've just been really doing that. I've just been busy with work. I don't have a big boy job yet, but my job is... I love my job. It's just keeping me kind of busy right now. And I didn't anticipate I'd have as many hours as I do at this point in time. And it's kind of conflicting. And then you all know the thing about my butt and pooping blood and all that. Yeah, I'm fine, by the way. I'm all good. I'm not gonna end this video saying I have colon cancer. That's not what I'm going to say. Damn, this is still $30. Jesus. I mean, yeah, it deserves to be $30. It's a cool card. I'd buy it for $30. Yeah, basically, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to go anywhere. I just think that trying to invest in the cards as I have isn't the best idea. And the thing is, I don't want to buy into Yu-Gi-Oh! For long-term investments unless it's things like LOB First Blue Eyes White Dragon, Magician's Force, Dark Magicians, like a lot of good, like high-end graded set cards, because I can do that with Pokemon, and the market is a lot deeper. I can actually move cards. You know, I can't fucking move half of the collectible shit I have. I can't move Retro Pack secrets for anywhere near what they're actually worth. You know, Tournament Pack stuff are rocks. Maybe that's just because I live in Australia, but Tournament Pack stuff is rocks. I have this huge Dark Revelations 4 collection that isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So I would rather, like, look, the best money and like the safest money is in high-end stuff. And until I get a real big boy job and have the spending capacity to really go there, I can't really touch it that much. And when I say spending capacity, like the ability to drop 500 to $1,000 on a single card or a single box in one go. That's what I'm trying to think. Because at the end of the day, all this speculation and scrounging just isn't worth it anymore for the things I mentioned. You know, we're not going to have any more Dantes. You know, any $20 secret rares that can go up to $80 and $60 and $100. That era is gone, and it's not coming back. It's never ever going to come back because Konami has completely fucked. Or not completely fucked. They've made everything accessible, but for an investor, that's basically cancer in like any trading card game. It's basically cancer. And nowadays, you know, we have all this DT hype. Last year, it was all the GOAT format hype, and you know, these prices are coming back down. If you go and look at the all the GOAT format cards that were hyped, you know, from about maybe February to about July last year. If you go and look at most of the cards prices, like, you know, they've got things like, you know, TP2 Morphing Jar or like Metamorphosis, which, you know, they've maintained value, but everything that went from like $20 to like $80 is starting to fall back down. A lot of these cards just are really not that desirable, unless they're actually part of the core GOAT decks. And, you know, and you have all these people selling these foreign ones and trying to get this, like, the same value as you would the English ones, but you really shouldn't be valuing foreign anything in Yu-Gi-Oh! At the same level as the English print, because no one really cares. I mean, yeah, like, foreign stuff is pretty and everything, it's cool, but everyone wants the English print of certain cards. Yeah, so, like, this is just an unstructured rant, but basically what I wanted to say was, like, I mean, there'll always be money to be made, but you just can't make it like you used to. Because one, people are just on the fucking ball now. Like, people have kind of woken up. Two, the product is completely different. And three, old stuff, like, what's kind of becoming good, there's also just not as much old stuff for it around anymore. Like, you have to think, like, when they release support for an archetype that maybe is 1 or 2 or 3 years old, you really can't go and buy it all out unless it's was like Infinitoids, for example. All the expensive stuff in Infinitoids came out before Breakers of Shadow, so it's all much rarer. But nowadays, like, say they release a new World Chalice card tomorrow, like, or maybe they'll, a TCG exclusive World Chalice card in Flames of Destruction, hypothetically, let's say that happens. I don't want to fucking touch anything that came out of Code of the Duelist, because, I mean, while it might spike a little bit, by the time it actually ships to me all the way in Australia from the US, because, like, I mean, I can't find, like, quantities at, like, good rates here, like, high quantities. By the time it ships to me, I really doubt that the hype will be there and these cards will still be expensive, because everything's just too easy to pull and it's just too easy to get. And Code of the Duelist is, like, sold out everywhere, basically, because it had the Solemn Strike reprint in it. Like, people complain about all the Yu-Gi-Oh's reprints and all that, but the reprints really weren't the problem. The reprints were fine as far as investing went. It made it fucking terrible to hold cards, and if it was a store, you would cry. But, like, even look at let's even look at Kaiba's collection. Legendary Collection Kaiba. Just looking at this set, and it's not about the cards which hold value, because a lot of these cards are going to hold value. It's just a lot of them really aren't going to appreciate or really go up, because they're just so easy to get. And people can play, you only get 2 Ghost Ash per case. And that's not bad. That's pretty fucking good. 2 Ghost Ash per case. 2 Ghost Ash in what? If you buy from the distributor $240 worth of product? Well, not even distributor. Buy it, like, from a retailer that's selling. Like, that's pretty fucking good. I wouldn't complain, because this Legendary Collection, I mean, yeah, it does have these great reprints and all. But only like 8 out of the 100 cards are really more than $5. There's a million Sage reprints. This was a structure deck card. Now it's $2. Like, yeah, I just don't really see it. It's not an environment where an investor can thrive. It's not an environment that's really healthy to speculate in. And I'm not talking about just buying shit and hyping it up, because that's not fucking speculation. I'm talking about, like, how I approached Infinitoids, or how I approached Metaseek on this channel. Hyping shit up because, it's a rare card. Hyping shit up and buying everything out that's on TCG Player for the sake of it. That's really not speculation. And then hoping by some miracle, people actually want it, 3 months down the track. That's not really speculation. To speculate, you actually have to have logic and reasoning behind, like, or expect something to happen in the future. Like, that's speculation. Like, anything else is just, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And if you're going to do that, you may as well just buy collections, because at least you know what you're going to get, and you can just buy everything low and flip it all high. And even now, like, it's hard to buy collections at a good price, because everyone wants to buy collections because the new product is awful to open. And yeah, if I seem bitter and sad, like, I mean, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I've outgrown all this small-time Yu-Gi-Oh bullshit, because it's just like, I mean, I think, like, I look at Yu-Gi-Oh and I really do think that out of Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh, just the fact that everything is kind of like in rotation. Everyone wants bad cards that really people shouldn't want, like, I don't know, Amazonas or Harpies or Noble Knights. The fact that people pay money for fucking garbage, and a lot of people hype up fucking garbage, and that people will build bad decks because it's a very casual game, mean that Yu-Gi-Oh is in a great place if you have access to just a ton of cardboard and you can just sell it. And I really think that the game's healthy. I don't think the game's going to diminish anytime soon. But I feel that it's just not worth it for speculators and investors to really be in this whole thing anymore compared to what it once was before we had Breakers of Shadow set distribution rarity ratio, and that's a mouthful. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, I would always go back to that for the year after it came out, but then it just became, normal. That's why I look at, something like Spellbook of Knowledge and be like, holy shit, this is a $15 ultra rare? How? Why? It's not being played in anything. It's really stupidly easy to pull. Why is this so expensive for an ultra rare? Only 3 ultra rares, like off the top of my head, have actually kept a $10 plus value for a while, which is Double Helix, Sage. Oh no, 4 now. Double Helix, Sage, Ancient Stone, and Spellbook of Knowledge, really. And that's not a sign of a healthy secondary market to me. And all trading card games are basically ticking time bombs anyway. Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day is a cash cow that's basically anime merchandise that lasted probably much longer than anyone at Konami or NSA or Shueisha expected it to. They probably expected this shit to last for 5 years if they were lucky, or maybe 3. But it's coming up to 20. I was 6 when Elva Legend of Blue Eyes came out, 6 years old. Remember having the Joey starter deck and all that. It's been a while. And the thing is, nothing lasts forever, And if I don't really think that it's indicative of tournament numbers and locals numbers. I think that the game is very, very healthy there, but I feel like this could end up being, or this or maybe the next couple of years could end up being the peak, because I don't really see new blood coming in. I think Duel Links and maybe a Hearthstone clone is the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! But the paper game will always exist, even if it's just relegated to being, something that's a much smaller scale. I don't know, some random TCG you might just see on the shelf, I don't know, think My Little Pony level thing. It'll always be around, it'll always exist. And people keep buying the products. People obviously love the game, they love the product, but I don't see the player retention in Yu-Gi-Oh! I really, just even from my local scene, you see a high rotation of players, and I feel if a lot of people in the US would probably feel the same way as well. I think that their roles might change. I feel maybe at events there's a lot of people trading, because the trading side of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely addictive. It's definitely fun. But I feel there's definitely a genuine frustration about how the game is managed, how people play the game. Ban lists, I think people are very, very frustrated. I think people are very very quick to want to drop the game. Everyone threatens that they're going to quit. And the thing is, the difference between Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that if you get sick of Magic the Gathering, you have another format to play. With Yu-Gi-Oh! It's standard or GOAT. Not standard, it's advanced or GOATs. And GOATs gets boring after a while. People praise GOATs, and people love GOATs. And I do love GOATs. GOATs has a soft place in my heart, but a little bit overrated. Definitely not the best format in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. As to what the best format is the one that you enjoyed the most. Except Zoo format. That one's just objectively fucking awful. No, the best format in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is honestly the one that you enjoyed the most, the one where you made the most friends, the one where you were the happiest, and you didn't really have to you weren't cynical about the game, where you just enjoyed it for what it was, and it is just a game. It really is just a game. And I've made it a little money-making hobby. Definitely not an enterprise. Definitely not consistent enough to really be anything. But yeah, I feel that winter is coming, basically, and it will come. It will come for us all. And nothing can last forever. And I look at all the energy and effort I really put into what I'm doing, and I want to do other things. I really, really want to do other things. And I thought I'd just make this video to kind of touch base, I really want to make a YouTube channel that isn't about children's card games. I will always, feature certain aspects of my nerdier self, because, like, fuck, I like today I bought a fucking jungle booster box from Pokemon. Like, normal fucking grown adults don't do this. I'm not gonna open it. It's an investment. Like, the plan is eventually, like, in 5 years' time, I sell off all my cardboard and either use it as a deposit on a house, or buy a nice Audi. That's my two options, really. Like, that's the idea. Like, you know, I'm thinking long term. Like, you know, I'm 23 years old now, and I'll be 28, and all this cardboard will have had a nice time to marinate. And even now, like, I'm looking at downsizing a lot of my collection. Like, my Yu-Gi-Oh collection binder, and this is just one binder that has all of my collectible stuff in it. Not my inventory from my eBay store, not stuff in a trade binder, not stuff that's like speculations. I'm talking about my actual collection. If I had to give it like a very conservative value, probably about 7. Like if I had to like sell shit quickly and not like try and push for the best price, probably about the 7 to 8,000 Australian dollar mark, and that's really not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. It's really not. Pokemon wise, probably about the same. But the thing with my Pokemon stuff is that it's not, you know, over a couple of 100 cards. It's over a couple of dozen, because I've looked at Pokemon and I really see that there's a much more established collector base. And Yu-Gi-Oh does have its collector base, and I'm always going to say that right now Yu-Gi-Oh is in its infancy. If you want to look at collectible Yu-Gi-Oh and investing in like all that stuff, definitely look up a YouTuber called Yu-Gi-Oh Tube. He's pretty good. I've spoken to him a couple of times. We were going to do like a little video conference thing a couple of months ago, and I would like to do that again, but my PC at the time kept on shitting itself when we tried to record this video, so I could only ever get like 10 minutes of footage at a time, and it was just complete garbage. He wasn't complete garbage. He's a great guy, very, very knowledgeable. He has an amazing collection. Like it'll make you wet. Like, fuck me, it's all the cards I want, And he definitely has a good insight. And actually, funny enough, the reason why I stumbled across his videos in the first place, I saw him make a video about Duelist Saga. Or maybe he commented on my videos and I watched his stuff and I said, no, Duelist Saga is shit. And I don't know, because he had a position on it. And I don't know how much he bought them for or whatever. I was like, but like, as you all know, like, people kind of forgot about Duelist Saga after last year. And what now? And now, you know, Duelist Saga is kind of coming into its own, because a lot of Duelist Saga, I think Duelist Saga kind of needs a killer app. I mean, Ultra Veilers are kind of going up from Duelist Saga. You know, you have the Dark Law, you have the Honest Neos. A couple of cards in there are starting to creep up. The market has kind of absorbed that terrible fucking garbage. Oh, fucking beautiful, like, tire fire, like, you know, situation in the Middle East set. Basically, you know, the market has begun to absorb this set. I just realized that there's like, I'm not even. It's easy to talk when I'm not just scrolling through cards. Oh, look at Lullaby of Obedience. People just, you know, would make this spike and all that. Ah, Maiden, Jesus, 50 cents. You've had a long way down. This used to be a $40 card. I'm pretty sure. Blue Eyes Twin Burst. This was money once upon a time. Shining Victory era. And I really do think that, like, maybe like the OG versions of a lot of these Blue Eyes White Dragon stuff are going to be money, but it'll take years. And like, for what you can buy, it's like you may as well just invest in like that's the problem. If you have to wait 2 or 3 years in Yu-Gi-Oh, put your money into Pokemon instead, or Magic. Like, unless you buy the Holy Grails. But if you ever like contemplate being, I'm going to put money into a new Yu-Gi-Oh release, it's like a single card or something, whatever. Pokemon or Magic. Vintage, or even Yu-Gi-Oh! Old stuff, just buy that instead. You know, it's just not worth it. I mean, yeah, things can spike. Like a 50-cent card can go to 5 cents for $5 or whatever. But if you're just pissing into the wind, like, it's just not consistent, and it's just not efficient. And the finance major in me is like, if you're gonna spend this money, have some like time frame or some sort of expectations of when you can pull it all out again, because if you invest in a card and it does fuck all, you're not getting your money back. At least in, like, you know, crypto, You know, that's the other thing. Like, I really want to get into crypto, and I have been looking at it. And I dabbled in crypto a little bit last year. I bought some Ethereum in about June last year when it was about 200 USD. I bought my Ethereum in the aftermath of China banning ICOs, and everyone was, you know, just crying. And I bought this Ethereum at $200 and then a day later 260. And I was like, oh my god, this is a great fucking racket. But I didn't jump in straight away, and I wish I did, because if I did jump in straight away when Bitcoin was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 grand, fuck, would have made some spicy meatballs that day. But it wasn't the case. It was not the case. It's not how the cookie decided to crumble. And at the end of the day, I'm like, well, you know, I made $800 per Ethereum. I had 3, and I know that you can like buy in percentages of the actual fucking token, but I didn't realize at the time, so I bought 3. I was a massive crypto noob. Yeah. I didn't buy like say $500 worth or a grand's worth. I bought 3. Ethereum, which is like $600, which translated to about 800 Australian dollars. Yeah, and I sold them in December because because the thing is, like, all this Yu-Gi-Oh experience basically said to me, like, yeah, this is basically the fucking hype when people buy out a card, when, you know, it's just fucking, you know, extremely fucking high. It's like, there's gonna be a correction here, you know, right? This isn't fucking maintaining its value. You know, there's gonna be people that want to jump off this boat at, like, you know, that would have had this stuff at like $800, and they can get 25,000, like, this is Australian dollars, by the way, $25,000. That was how, what was it, 25 or USD? I can't remember now, not off the top of my head. But yeah, I just, because the thing is with Yu-Gi-Oh, like, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh, like, I would always play. I remember being, I remember having very brief spells where I'd buy like a tin of something. Like, I remember buying and they're really expensive now. And at the time, like, God, I really wish I never opened this fucking tin. And I guess that's anyone that's, like, opened an old box of, like, Pokemon. I remember buying the Stardust Dragon tins in 2008 when they came out. And then I dabbled in playing in a local tournament, like, 2010 with Machina Gadgets. And I had Gale, and, like, I needed to buy a Black Rose Dragon and Blackwing Armor Master. And why did they reprint so much of this fucking tournament pack stuff? That's just awful. Why do they do it? Like, I understand it's cool and everything, but they could have put good reprints in here. Give that Chaos Emperor Dragon a rather. Kaiba did use it. Anyway, sorry about that. Or maybe they've errated it in the reprints of Duelist Pack. That's a good question. I don't know. But basically, back on topic. Like, the thing with getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, I started lurking in the Pojo forums, and you could probably go find posts. I can't remember what my username was now, like in 2012, and then about late 2013, I started to play Yu-Gi-Oh like competitively. Like, from about 2012 onwards, I would play on Dueling Network constantly. I'd play so much, like late 2011 to about 2013. I was just, before I actually made decks, made like paper decks. Paper is like the term used in Magic the Gathering between, like, you know, online and paper, because Magic the Gathering has this amazing simulate, like, or compared to anything Konami's ever put out, where you can actually, like, play the game. Amazing probably will, you know, not go down well if you've come from Magic the Gathering, or if you're familiar with Magic the Gathering, because MTG Online, it's not designed very well, but for what it is, it's good. Unless you at least, you know, play the decks and, like, have a, you know, decent decent decks. It's basically like Dueling Book, except not subject to cease and desist orders because they decide to use anime artwork. Yeah, basically just along those lines. We're clocking in at the 40-minute mark. I really should be doing other things, but I'm just gonna keep ranting. Basically, like, I looked at Yu-Gi-Oh for like 1 or 2 years before really buying into anything, because I wanted to learn how it all worked. And, you know, and what I would see was things like Summoner's Art for Cleaforts, or Elemental Hero Bubbleman for, like, Hero Beat, like, all that type of stuff. They're the earliest speculations I remember, like, happening. I remember the new support coming out for Six Samurai, or the reprints of Six Samurai. And old, rare asceticism. I'm really trying to rack my brain for old speculations. I can't remember a lot of them. Yeah, like Master Hero Acid was one of my earliest like successes. You know, then like years later you had the Talonite Ptolemaeus, all the Shadol stuff, all the Burning Abyss stuff. But I'm trying to remember earlier than like that. I'm trying to remember earlier than 2014. Oh yeah, Fire and Ice Hands. That was a thing. Mathematician. Shit. This was so long ago now. Oh yeah, Ultimate Rare Tenkis. Even earlier than that. Oh god. I can't really remember. I can't remember earlier than that, really. Like, there was so much going on. Those Dragon Rules. Oh yeah, like Super Rare, what was it? What was the banned card? The dragon card that lets you draw. Super Rejuvenation. Yeah, I remember those cards. Yeah, those cards were kind of cool. Yeah, and they made money back then. No, but Super Rejuvenation wasn't a super at that point, was it? No, it was like a common, and everyone needed them. You know, 6 cents. This is going back years and years and years. And yeah, it's just, oh, Jesus, yeah. We're out of here. Let's look at a fun little set. Let's look at I want to go through Dark Revelation 4. I love Dark Revelation 4. It's just such a cool set because I love it when they when the old cards reprinted cards in higher rarities or different rarities. Like, damn, Exarion's coming down in value. This is just dropping. I mean, it was always kind of expensive, and it kind of went up to like 150. Now it's back down to like 100 and whatever. This is just fucking laughable. I don't think anyone's ever actually paid this amount of money for Tyrannical Infinity. Basically, if you're not familiar with Dark Revelation 4, Dark Revelation 4 was a set that wasn't released in booster boxes. It was only released in like a blister pack. Oh no, it was released in like a special box thing. You had 2 packs per box. It came with like a reprint of Light and Darkness Dragon. And I just think it's an awesome set. It was an American only release. Damn, Guilford, you're getting expensive. I bought you for $10 years ago. Satellite cannon going back. Yeah, this really should not be expensive. Like, it's satellite cannon. No one cares about satellite cannon. Banner for Artemis. This card has just a fucking ridiculous price. But when I remember looking at it in the videos, like the listing price was like, I remember being at stupidly high. But then I remember looking at sold listings. This is just a couple of months ago now, and it'd be like $60 for a playset in the sold listings. Like, these prices, just like, and that's why I always like. That's one of the biggest lessons. Just because something is listed at a high price doesn't mean it's selling for a high price. I mean, yeah. But I don't know, I just really love this set. This used to be a $40 card. This was high for the longest time. Like, but they're $22. This kind of makes me want to buy a set. This isn't a recommendation for you to go out and buy these cards, because these cards were high in a much different time frame. You know, no one gives a shit about Dragon's Mirror anymore, really. But back then, Dragon's Mirror, like, and this is in the days where all these ultimate rares weren't, you know, $100+ or even $50+, and you know, you could still get Blue Eyes White Dragon LOBs or SDKs around the $40, $50, $60 mark. Yeah, Uriah, just not there. Yeah, and I think I might end this video now since we have breached 40 minutes. It was nice to have this little chat, nice little talk. And I'm sorry I haven't made any videos. I've just been really busy. Kind of lost the will to make videos. Kind of just needed to take a break. I might take a break for another week, or I might, if you guys want more of these kind of just discoherent rants, leave me talking points in the video. You know, let me. An error has occurred. Okay, I'm not even paying attention to what's going on the screen. Let me let's see what's happening. What's happening? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what's happening in Streamforce, actually. Yeah. Leave me some talking points, and I'll have a little chat with you guys about them. And I just like, I mean, if anyone's actually still watching, you're champions. But the one thing I do, like, I'll summarize a couple of things. I really do think that speculation in Yu-Gi-Oh is a shadow of its former self. And that's basically comes down to how a product is designed these days, where everything is just stupidly accessible and too easy to get. It's not worth putting the type of money in that we used to. everything's harder because there's more competition. Everyone's a vendor. Everyone's a backpack vendor. Everyone's a store now. And I think trading card games in general, look, there's always going to be money in old stuff, but it's a dying hobby. It's a dying breed. I think at the moment that we're at the peak, and we'll be peaking for a couple more years, but I think that card stores should be worried. Man, card stores should be so fucking worried right now. The reality is that the internet has made it so hard for trading card games to really retain money. Like, sports cards are doing really, really well. Like, when I think of card stores, I'm really just talking about trading card games. I'm not talking about sports cards. Sports cards are fucking killing it because the product isn't fucking garbage. If you're unfamiliar with sports cards, they will make limited runs of certain cards. Like, there might only be 400 copies of one card with a certain like shine to it, or certain holographic effect, certain signature. If you're unaware, stuff like that. So they've made a really strong product. They've made a product people really, really want. It's catering to a demographic with money and like a high-end demographic, like older people, like grown men in their 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. It's catering to a much wider demographic than trading card games, except like, Pokemon, because Pokemon's an international phenomenon. But the thing is with Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, like when it comes to their product design, they all suffer from the same problem that makes people not want to buy this stuff, and that's just oversaturation. For people that want to buy a product, there has to be a perceived value, basically. And like that's why when I say like, there's a good reprint in this special edition, people are going to want to buy more because they perceive value in it. They see a $7 or an $8 or $10 promo, that's covering the cost of that little special edition box. So they're going to buy it, and that creates an incentive because there's perceived value there. I really think that like Pokemon's just going to keep smashing it. Pokemon's like the Mickey Mouse of the millennials. Pikachu is the Mickey Mouse of the millennials. I have 4-figure Pokemon cards. I'm not trying to brag, but the reality is like old Pokemon is always going to hold value. Old Yu-Gi-Oh!, old Magic, like even if these games crumbled away, there would be a collector's market for it because we have this attachment to it. And that's kind of what I wanted to go back with Dragon's Mirror. That Dragon's Mirror was expensive once in a different climate, but now it's not expensive anymore. People don't care about it anymore. And maybe one day people won't give a shit about Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering. But that day is decades away. These franchises will survive, but the players in trading card games and the sellers in trading card games really have to evolve. Like, I look at trading card games in general, and there is absolutely no reason for people to have a brick and mortar store. Like at the moment, I work part-time in a card shop. It's a card shop that doesn't focus on trading card games. Their foundation is sports cards, and for one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are the worst. You're awful. You're awful customers because you don't spend enough money. I'm kidding. No. So for example, because we're not a traditional card store, we can't justify to be open on a weekday night and not get walk-in traffic from people that want Pokemon cards or sports cards. A lot of Magic the Gathering stores that I know of in Australia that aren't like one of the big franchises like Good Games or NLG, they survive off fucking not even their core products. It's like drinks and fucking Snickers bars. It's not even the core product that they're selling because being franchises, there's no incentive for them to like pay people to deal with singles properly. That's a very unique phenomenon to Australia because America doesn't really have franchised card stores. It's really, really weird. You might there are some franchises there's the one when we're in Vegas. Was it Vegas? They've got 2 locations. I think it was Vegas. I can't remember what they're called. I bought cards from them. We Play Games. They have 2 stores. I'm talking about franchises with 30 stores Australia wide, and you have to remember our population is 24 million people, so we don't really have the population to kind of sustain these. And I look at these stores and I just go, how are you guys just money laundering for drug cartels? like that's the only logical explanation I can think of to why you're still open and you can still like run events if you're relying on the sales of like Snickers bars and Gatorade. They don't even have Gatorade, they have like off-brand shit. Yeah, it's really strange. It's really weird. It's a weird dynamic because all the money in all these card games is in the high-end stuff. And like if we're also like I mentioned Alpha Investments earlier in this. How far are we in now? Jesus Christ, 15 minutes. I can talk, can't I? I've got a mouth on me. Jesus shit. That's insane. 50 minutes. This is a long ass video. Yeah, like, you know, there was that announcement about a GameStop and EB Games trying to pivot and work with Wizards of the Coast in order to hold tournaments. And I feel like it's like the flinging of the arms before being gored by a saber-toothed tiger. I really feel that it's just the death throes of retail in general. But that could become a problem for a lot of these smaller game stores that can order product in huge quantities and get it cheaper and be undercut. And, you know, and like it will definitely appeal to a younger generation than, you know, the jaded old individuals. And I don't think we're going to see a drop off in Yu-Gi-Oh events, but I feel that the Yu-Gi-Oh player base is not really serious when it comes to competitive events. You know, like we had our equivalent of, you know, Star City games with really, really good prizes and paid events, and even the people that I'm talking to, like people don't really want to pay more for events. It's just not a competitive player base like Magic the Gathering is, and I think that comes from there being a very, very low player retention and huge barriers to entry. Because like you really need to play Yu-Gi-Oh properly. You really need to like put up hundreds of dollars up front. It's really not that good. Like just looking at like, you know, to build an extra deck in Yu-Gi-Oh, like of anything really, you have to drop $200 on it, and then the shit's gonna get reprinted, and then it's gonna, you know, not cycle out, but technically it will because the next new cards are gonna come along, and they'll all be expensive. Like, oh, excuse me, I just burped. It's just this cycle of nothing. You know, there's no prizes. I don't know why they even bother paying to set up Twitch streams. Like, trading card game streams are fucking boring. They don't get people. The peak of a Magic the Gathering stream was 40,000. Pretty sure like Hearthstone averages that like every single day. You know, it's a pastime for a demographic that's growing up and won't have time for these things. No, I don't see the new blood coming in. What I do see is a lot of like teenagers and people in their 20s finally having the money to really get into the game. But I don't know, like, will we start seeing decreases at events in the next 5-7 years? Is it a regional thing? What's gonna happen there, you know? I think we haven't hit Magic the Gathering's level of cynicism and just unhappiness yet, and Yu-Gi-Oh will always have the anime, which is an amazing commercial for the card game to fall back on. And, you know, that Duel Links probably makes more money than the paper card game because like everything would scale better, you know, and there's less effort and less work. They just dumb down regular Yu-Gi-Oh and just handpick things, you know. They don't have all the research and development thing side of it going in, you know. They could end paper Yu-Gi-Oh now and they'd have plenty of content for Duel Links for the next 5 to 6 years, and it would make them more money and it would conform to their business model, you know. But the thing is, Yu-Gi-Oh will never go away. Like I said, it'll always be a card game on the shelf. Whether it lasts, it's going to be around for 5 years, it might be around for 10 years, might be around for 15, 20 years, might be pushing it though. But even then, like, yeah, it's always going to have the same problems. Nothing, as far as the actual game goes, nothing's getting better. We still have the same problems, we still have the same bullshit that they just seem adamant to kind of not test properly. And I think and I always say this, that Yu-Gi-Oh has survived against all the odds. If any other card game did the bullshit that Yu-Gi-Oh did, it would have failed a decade ago. But it hasn't. You know, it's just such a strong franchise. It's like, you know, I think I remember seeing an organization article about Yu-Gi-Oh! Pops being in the pipeline. But yeah, and then this rant has gone on forever, and it's just so random and crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I would really want to encourage some commenting in these in this comment section. And even if Yu-Gi-Oh! Money, this brand, I guess, was to end, I'd still be around. I'm still going to be pumping out YouTube videos. They're going to be of a much different variety. I feel that, like, the thing with like pumping out YouTube videos is that, like, I don't know, YouTube's a weird climate at the moment. I don't know. I pay attention to a lot of YouTube, and they basically just want lowest common denominator garbage that appeals to children. That's the problem with YouTube. The thing is, they want this lowest common denominator garbage that's advertiser friendly, politically correct, you know, subscribes to the popular agenda of the day. But it's for children. And and the thing which is, children don't really have the spending capacity. You know, if they really wanted YouTube Red to take off, they kind of need like a killer app. Like, you know, like Amazon Prime has The Man in the High Castle, Netflix had House of Cards, something like that. And if you look at all the YouTube Red series coming out, like, the best ones are the Vsauce ones, because they're not fucking hack jobs. You know, the comedy on YouTube these days is like, the thing is, it's trying to be comedy by committee, if that makes sense. It's not really like the best comedians, they tell inconvenient truths. The best comedians aren't advertiser friendly, and that's a huge problem. And until YouTube, and the thing is, like, YouTube is just so worried, they're so scared of losing sponsorships and advertising. They're so frightened. And if you follow some of the news to the corporate culture of Google as well, you can kind of see that there are some very, very big problems there, like the whole James Damore thing. Like, you know, the guy is asked for what was it? Feedback. That's what I'm looking for. The guy was asked for feedback. He is a biology major, and he basically listed the differences between men and women and why they may behave differently in the workplace, and he gets fired and he gets branded as sexist. And it's just like, you can't say anything. Like, YouTube's walking on eggshells. That's why we see like Lele Pons, you know, being recommended to everything, like, or Wengy, or all these safe people. Like, YouTube's even abandoned its core of like video gaming. But the thing is, like, when it comes to the internet, gaming has been the pioneer for everything. Gaming's been the pioneer for, like, even just technology. The pioneer for VR. The pioneer for Twitch. You know? Maybe not Facebook and Instagram, because, you know, like, in Facebook and Instagram is more just, like, the bad, easy comedy, like, you know, 1 minute, 2 minute videos that were in the very early days of YouTube. And I think YouTube really, really wants to, you know, commoditize on that, and just commoditize on like fashion and makeup, because that's what makes money, and it's inoffensive and it's safe. You know, like sneakerhead culture, hype beast culture, you know, and the you know, family friendly, PG friendly creators, not like people like Rice Gum. You know, I'm pretty sure if the YouTube CEOs could have their way and not face a huge class action lawsuit, like H3H3, Filthy Frank, Philip DeFranco, you know, Rice Gum, Keemstar, like iDubbbz, all like the funny, edgy comedian people, like maybe even like, I don't know, Pyrocynical, or like, I don't know, not really Pyrocynical, but like How To Basic. I'm pretty sure if they could have their way, they delete all this shit off YouTube. It's like, you're costing us too much bandwidth, you're giving us bad reputation. We have to get rid of you guys. The purge begins now. And the thing is, like, if I want to make a YouTube channel, I'm scared to say, like, another one that's not like trading card game based, I'd be scared to say something like that, you know? You know, like, because they'd be like, oh, we're changing, the algorithm's gonna fuck me over and change everything. Like, I'd be so scared. I'd have to censor out all the swearing, couldn't say cunt, couldn't say fuck, couldn't say shit. And I think I'd be okay with that. You know, it could just be like Gordon Ramsay, like on the American Gordon Ramsay anyway. Like, actually, like, you know, where they just censor out the F word because of America's delicate soccer mum sensibilities. You know, it's yeah, like it's interesting. It's interesting and all that. Like, you know, I'd love to have a podcast channel once on like Twitch or something, once and have like interesting guests on. You know, ever the flavor of the week. Except I live in Australia and there's really not that many interesting people compared to the US. So trying to fill weekly spots might be a bit hard, especially when I kind of have to be as generic as possible. And you know, I mean, what Australian celebrities have really made it in America? Like, I mean, Hugh Jackman isn't going to come on my little shitty podcast. I mean, I love him to. Like, I love Wolverine's great, but you know, like, I mean, Australian names and thing. Russell Crowe's not actually Australian; he's technically a New Zealander. But like Jim Jeffries like train wreck of the left wing. He used to be so funny. Why can't he just go back to bashing religion instead of like beating the dead horse left agenda? And I'm not saying I'm right wing. Right, I'm just saying that left-wing politics has kind of become a bit crazy. I mean, politics have become a bit crazy in general. But yeah, it's just insane. It's just insane how YouTube is now trying to become a very like a PG like a PG-13 MTV. That's what they really, really want. Like, very rarely are they gonna really promote like genuine people with like a heart and soul. You know, they don't rush and they don't rush to the defense of people. Like if you look at the H3 lawsuit, right? I think it's fucking abysmal that YouTube didn't really want to step in. And the thing is, all this, you know, this demonetization, you know, like all the like bullshit, you know, copyright claims that all these multimedia companies file against people for reviewing a movie. You know, you have people like Anthony Fantano, like, you know, and like that can't, like, you know, play a clip of a song in his videos, you know. And I think that because, you know, YouTube will never ever take a side against these conglomerates. It's just never going to happen because at the end of the day, they have all the money and what was I going to say? And the YouTube creators have got nothing. You know, they don't bring in anything. I don't really think YouTube even actually makes that much money, considering all the bandwidth they have to spend on people. And yeah, and that's the end of the rant. Like, I want to create more, but I'm scared. I want to kind of move away from Yu-Gi-Oh money, not because it doesn't make money. The money was never a thing. Like, I just think that my perspective was really missing from the whole Yu-Gi-Oh finance, economy, market watch like genre, I guess. And I will continue to create videos. I want to create better quality videos. I want to do what I did with like the should you buy the legendary dragon decks things, but I want to do that for like sets. But editing these 15 to 20 minute long videos, like with millions of different things, takes forever. And I just can't commit to it when it just takes so much of my time. Like, I can't spend 5 hours on a video. Well, if I know in the back of my mind that this is just a very, very small niche in a very small market. You know, and I think that eventually there will be a Market Watch channel that kind of does really break it up. I think VCT RFS, regardless of what I think about his content, the fact that he pumps out a video every day, basically, whether or not there's quality content or not there, and I think that I do have very fair criticisms of him. You know, he will probably end up being a $15, $20, maybe even $30,000 subscriber channel. It's gonna happen, just because he keeps pushing out content, and it doesn't matter whether or not it's Yu-Gi-Oh's Market Watches or like fucking Keemstar. It doesn't matter if it's good content, bad content, because that's kind of subjective. It's just if you keep making content, people will always focus on the wins. Like, and people will, and you'll always continue to grow. Doesn't matter if you're, you know, 8,000 subscribers or 3.5 million subscribers. You know, like, Back to the example of rice gum. Rice gum is it's just low common denominator garbage, but people enjoy it, and they're allowed to. Just because I'm a fucking snob doesn't mean people aren't allowed to like things, you know. Yeah, it's just yeah, and the thing is, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Market Watches, like, I do want to create something that has the capacity to grow, and I want it to be able to grow quickly. But if you want to really grow quickly in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to be like Team Samurai X or just a fucking boring booster box opening channel. And I kind of, they're just not my thing. I wouldn't say I hate them. I wouldn't say they detest them. It's just not my thing. I just see that type of content and I go, eh. Or you have to be like Simo, and you know, and like, I'm not saying Simo's bad. It's just like, I don't watch him because I'm very jaded, and I don't need to know how, you know, like the top 5 cards from Code of the Duelist. You know, I don't need to watch a video like that. I can look at the cards and be like, ah, yeah, you know, this card, this is a good card. So is this. This is overhyped, but you know, this is good because, you know, they banned Double Iris. Like, I can see that. And yeah, it's just it's not like, it's just how the content is basically for Yu-Gi-Oh. I think this is approaching an hour. I think I might stop. I think I might just stop with the ranting. I think I've said a lot tonight. And as far as how this channel progresses, we are going to get back on schedule. I just need 1 or 2 weeks to get my own shit done, and then we'll get there. Yeah, it sounds like what we'll do. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. If you actually watched an hour and 10 minutes of me talking, you're a bloody legend. You are dynamic and amazing and just a wonderful human being. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later. Bye.